Hey everybody, long time no see. Hope you're all doing pretty well. Yeah, I've had a very busy May, so I had to take a step back from streaming, but I hope things have quieted down a bit now. Yeah, I don't want to dwell too much on it because yeah, it's been very busy and not the most happy circumstance. Oh, hi Ice Boy, I'm glad you could make it today. But yeah, I think we'll just get right to programming. So while I've been gone, I've actually had a little bit of time to work on the game, and so I took I guess some of that time to update a lot of the old scripts because I've been wanting to do like code cleanup for a long time. And you guys didn't really miss a whole lot because it's been a little bit boring to tell the truth. Mostly just been like renaming things and cleaning up some code. But some cool things I did do is in the loading, whenever it loads an asset, I actually finally take care of disposing an asset when it needs to be, like during an error. Used to, I just left it hanging. And also, I moved a lot of the asynchronous Lua calls, which I now call an open call. It just sounds better to me. I moved them out of the play scene so we can actually use this code during any scene. Like for loading, we'll have to call a loading script that might want to use some of those things like, I don't know, pathfinding during map generation I've said before. That's really the only big thing. Oh, also on the server, before whenever the client had to like try to keep track of the server state because the server wouldn't like, if the client sent a message that the server wasn't expecting, the server would just kind of ignore it. But that was really complicated and kind of buggy, so I took all that out, and now the server just knows that if somebody asks it a question that should have been asked in the past, so for example the client somehow got behind the server will just respond with a message immediately that this client would have expected, so that way it kind of keeps everything in sync naturally. Yeah, but yeah, I guess you're out for a summer break. Actually, yeah, I guess it's about that time of year. Okay, but anyway, I managed to fix most of the game up to the point where it just enters the play scene. So actually, it generates a terrain and creates a monster, but you can't do anything else. Like there's no input. I can't move the camera. So I think we'll be working on some of that stuff today and see just how far I'll get. Okay. So right now, actually I can look at the debug log. Okay, so this is like creating the monsters and setting their position. But if I look right here, the match phase went to the intro, and so it stopped there because nothing handles that. Let me see. Okay, and so here's like old code that I need to update, but I'm kind of trying to do it chronologically so I don't confuse myself. So for now, we advance the match phase to the introduction. Okay, so all it has is like a setup. I don't even know. I don't remember what uses this. I wrote a lot of this code quite a long time ago, so a lot of the, I guess, fun of going back and updating all this is to see some of the silly decisions I made before. Okay, so I guess this is it. What does it have to set up? Okay, so I had like a... Oh, I bet this would create the monsters, but I moved that to the end of the map generation because I realized that those monsters and things will need to be on the screen during the team building anyway. So I wonder. Well, I still might want to have like an intro phase because the camera might like. Have something cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself trying to do this right now. Because like when the game loads in, it already loads into the team building, and so there you can kind of get a view of all the players and what monsters they have selected, and you can look around the map and everything. So maybe it's not really needed right now. I think I might just get rid of it, and I can always add it back in if I need to later. Here, so I forgot to mute my phone. Oh, also another thing. Right like during all this craziness in May, we got a new cat, and so far she's really shy around my dog. So I'm keeping my dog in here with me, just so I don't have to worry about having any issues with that. So I might get a glimpse of her, or she might whimper or something, so that would be the reason why. But anyway, so let's just get rid of this intro phase for now. I can add it back in. That means we'll go right to the turns, which is the main phase. Oh, there's this initialization. I think I'll just none for that. Yeah, the new cat's been fun, but like I have already had a cat, and getting them to play nice has not been the easiest, because unfortunately this new cat was a rescue, so we don't really know what happened to her, and she's kind of shy, but things are warming up between them, I think. Anyway, so okay. So now here, instead of moving to the intro phase, I'll just move straight to the turns. Okay. So if state match phase is turns. Well, I don't really have to do this, because at the same time we switch to the turns phase, I'd also want to switch to the initial phase for well, kind of confusing, but when I switch the turns match phase, I also want to switch to the initialize for the turn phase. Let's rename that actually. Okay, so what this did, oops, dropping some frames. What is going on? Okay, well, hopefully that will clear up, because it's been good up until just a couple seconds ago, so I apologize for that. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. So I guess I'll just, yeah, this class is completely uninteresting, so I don't really need to keep it around for future reference. I'll just delete that. And yeah, I'll delete that. Okay, so this for the initialize, so it runs a script and then it does like a ready check. I guess this might be good, because maybe we'd want to say new turn, and then you'd want to like press space or something before people can start choosing their actions. But I guess maybe that would just go at the very beginning of the choice phase. So I don't really know. Do I need this ready check is what I'm trying to think. Because, okay, this script runs at the beginning of every turn. And it mostly would just update different stats. So I wonder, let me see. Okay, I want to rename some of these things while I'm here. So this is like I guess action generation, because we do more than just sorting now. Okay. Okay, well I guess it makes sense for these to be separate because in this phase should be all about choosing what actions. So this would run before, but I guess I don't really like the turn phases don't have to match up exactly with the server. Let me see, how do I do it on the server? Because I'm just thinking, I don't really know if I need to have this initialized turn phase on the server because it would kind of just run into... well, I don't know. Maybe in case for some reason that beginning script takes a long time to load or to run. I don't know. I guess not a huge deal to have that extra message. But let's make a new namespace. Realize. Okay, having trouble spelling that for some reason. And I think I'll just move anything that has to do with that in there. Oh, another thing I did was that the way I did timeouts before was really complicated because if the server timed you out, it would send you a message before just disconnecting you, which I don't really know why that's needed. So I just decided that if the server thinks you're taking too long to do something, it just disconnects you. It's basically the same thing anyway. But yeah, I'll need to update this at some point. I'm gonna mark this as obsolete because this is kind of rolled into other code now. Okay, anyways, so... Okay, so I want to have... It doesn't need to be public. A state class here, which basically just keeps track of this enumeration, which is the phase. Okay, and so here, this is another new thing. Before I had that component system, which was kind of cool because you didn't have to initialize any objects, but it got to be confusing. So this new system, whenever you want to have an object that different classes can, I guess, access, you need to first declare it here. And it will create a new object, or a new instance of this object, and then whenever something needs it, which I guess I can show here, except this is all going to throw a bunch of errors. I'll comment that out for now. You just basically reference it in the constructor like this, and the game will automatically pass it. That's pretty nice because that way I don't have to worry about like changing the signature of this constructor if I need more objects. Okay, so of course I'll need the events. Okay, and this flow logic container is a class that basically just enables a lot of the event system. So I need to pass that up. Alright, Ice Boy. See you in a bit. Okay, so what's this complaining about? Inconsistent accessibility. Oh, because this is a public class. Okay, so now in order for this new controller class to show up, I need to also do the same thing here. Declare it, and then since it's called a ticking object, so that means it gets called every update. I need to assign it a priority here. And so what this does is this flow control sub always is called after anything that's marked with flow control, and the reason is because it needs to be able to get events from this class on the same frame. If that makes sense. So basically, if it ticked before it, it could miss some of it, so or miss some events, which would not be ideal. Okay, so here we're gonna need the play state. And then state. Okay, maybe I should rename this because it's just having it called state is a little confusing because I have this play state, so this will be init turn state. Okay. So now that I need this play state, I can also just add it to the constructor arguments, and it will automatically be passed to me. Okay. Alright, and so now I need to listen to a couple events. Does this do anything interesting? I'm trying to see if I want to just delete this code or if I might need it later. If this debugging I don't need anymore because it's automatically called when an event is thrown. Or queued, I guess I should say. Yes, I think I can get rid of all this. One other thing. I should have an event class that corresponds to this subphase, so I can notify the rest of the game whenever this changes. I think I'll just copy this class because I want to keep this pattern. Oop. Am I still live? Okay, my internet is... Okay, I'm dropping like crazy, I just realized. Let me see. Might need to go reset my router, but I think hopefully this will fix it. I'll just lower my bitrate a bit. Alright, sorry about that. Yeah, I'll give it a second. If it doesn't improve, I'll have to go reset my router. Okay, so init turn phase change, and so I just mark this as an event. It really doesn't have anything I need to implement. It's just, I guess, marks that I'm ready, that I signal this class to be an event. But yeah, and it's complaining because it's public, but the phase isn't public, so now it should be happy. And the only, like one nice thing about my other system was that whenever you change a variable, events would automatically be queued. But it doesn't really work like that in this system because I'm kind of trying to keep it as simple as possible. So, in order to do that, I just have this special little function that will change the state and throw an event at the same time. Let's go. Oh, right. Gotta change some variables here. Okay, so what's wrong with this? Cannot implicitly convert from subphase to turn phase. Oh yeah, okay, I need to change this. So init. There we go. Okay, so... Oh, well, before I do that, I need to also listen for certain events. And the way you do that is I have this tickables list, and it's called every frame, basically right here. And you can add event listeners. So what I want to do is listen for a turn phase change event. Alright, I need to actually pass the event queue. Oops. Okay, so I'll just generate this. And so what happened here is if the play state turn, wait, that's not what I want. If we enter the initialize phase, then I'll want to advance my phase to run scripts. So I actually don't need this function. Okay, so that's really all I have to do here. I used to have something that if I was disconnected, it would wait. But there's really no reason for that, because if I get disconnected, we can still run this. We would just wait until we actually do the ready check, and then we would handle being disconnected. Yeah, I noticed that going back through this code, a lot of the networking was a bit more complicated than it needed to be, but I think that was just down to inexperience. I don't know if you could hear my doggy right there. Okay, so I already tell I'm gonna change a bit about this class. I might not need that, but I'll leave it in case. Yeah, calling Lua scripts is way simpler now. So I'll basically have a list of open call helper, and this class takes care of registering a asynchronous Lua function for me. And so I'll just call this open, or I guess my calls. Yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of all this. Okay, and I'll again want to be flow logic container. And again, that just enables the events. Okay, and I'll need to get this open calls object, and if I go in here, it basically just contains all the information that the game will need about a Lua call. There's quite a bit, but all I really care about is the first arguments and then these open call options. Most of the other values are used by the Lua system itself. Oh yeah, I also need the game database. Oops. In order to actually get the functions to call. Okay, so I'll just instantiate a new list here, and I already know that I'll need one helper for every initialized turn function. And those are loaded during the asset loading phase, and they never change, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, onload function. I guess I could do a for each. I don't really need the index, I don't think. Function in database. Okay, so I need to create a new helper, and again, oh yeah, I've got to pass it this open calls object. So obviously I'll need the function, which got out of the database, and then options. So, okay, so I should allow animations and audio. But stat requests. No, because I think those would only happen during action. Well, yeah, I'll see about that later. Okay, and then debug name. Don't think this function has a good toString. I don't remember. So I'll just call it yeah, maybe I should store a good debug name with the function here in the database. Well, we can always add that in later. So this will just be a new turn function. And okay, so first arguments, we won't pass anything, so I just need to give it a new so this is basically how you say that we will pass null into the object or the Lua function. And so that's about it. So right now this function will not be called, it's just basically getting ready to be called. Okay, what's it complaining about? Oh right, I forgot to call the base constructor. Okay, so again, I need to listen to when my phase starts. What's wrong here? Oh, it's tickables, yeah. So this is initialize turn. Oh yeah, I'm in the wrong namespace for one. Okay, so on init turn phase. Oops, thought it was right there. And again, I need to pass the events as the first argument. Okay, so now we set it up so that this function will be called. I guess in that case, I need the initialize turn state. For some reason, whenever I type state, I tend to always capitalize the T. I wish that there was a macro or something I could do to synchronize these variables with the constructor. That'd really be the only gripe I have with this new system. Is that if you have to add something here, you also have to type it here and here. I know that you can like delete this and generate a whole new constructor, but then it would also get rid of this code. Okay, so here. So if initialize turn state. Okay, so if we enter run scripts, then what I'll need to do is loop through my calls. Oops. And just call this start, and so then this will start running that function. Oh, also another important thing is I should add all of these variables into this disposables list, so that way if something happens and this object gets disposed, these calls won't be like they just won't stay open forever. What's it complaining about? Oh right, it can't convert the lists. Okay, so gonna have to do this a little less elegant, but that's okay. So my calls add call and disposables add call. And then also if we're not in this phase, just in case one of the functions, excuse me, one of the functions is still running, I'll just call this withdraw, and so that stops the call. Yeah, so I guess I don't need any of that. Okay, I don't need that. The only other, well, I guess I still do need a ticking function because I need to know when all of my calls are done. Let me see. So if we're in the run scripts phase, then okay, good. Looks like my internet starting to level out. Okay, so hopefully I'll be able to increase the bitrate soon, but I'll just leave it how it is for now. Let me know if the artifacts are unbearable, but okay. Yeah, so if we're in this phase, I need to check to see if every script is done. So all scripts complete is true. So we'll assume that they're complete and then we'll just go through each one. So if call is complete or equals false, then all scripts complete is false and we'll break. Okay, and so if all scripts complete. Okay, so now I need to loop through them again just to withdraw everything. So we don't leave the call in the list. But I don't care about, well, I guess I do need to know if there was an error. Okay. So I forget. Do I have to check? Okay, yeah, I can't yeah, when I withdraw it would basically clear everything, so I need to check this error message before I call withdraw. So if call error type, oops, does not equal none. Okay, so I don't really need to do like a throw, but I will need to queue an exception, which I don't think I have an event for that yet. Okay, so I guess I was just checking here to see if I already have a start turn error function or exception type, but it doesn't look like it. Change this. Okay, so this params keyword is kind of cool. It's like it'll take a variable amount of arguments to this constructor and it will basically compress them all into this info argument. Don't. I guess I was trying to save a little memory, but that's kind of unneeded optimization because these exceptions should not be thrown normally, so you don't really need to optimize it. Anyway. Oh right, I went in there to create an event and I forgot. Kind of rather this type be outside of the play exception class, but if I do that, it's going to cause a lot of errors. I know a way I can fix it. Okay, so what I'll do is just I'll search the entire solution, and if anything ever called play exception dot type, then I'll change that to just play exception type. And I have to be a little careful with this, so you have to think, is there anything that this could accidentally get matched with? But that's why I added that dot at the end. But I think I'm safe here. I don't even know if it'll find much. Okay, yeah, it fixed 42, so this is me being a little anal about the naming there. But anyway, so this doesn't need to be public, but this will be play error, or this is called exception event. Okay, and this will have public. We'll just pass the actual exception here. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So new. I guess I could have made the exception itself an event, but did I spell something wrong? Oh, okay, there we go. So I need to create something new here. Yeah, I think these will kind of not be needed. I'll need to like look through these and see if there's any numeration that's not used anymore when I'm done with everything. I guess it doesn't matter a whole lot, but just to keep things clean. Okay, but anyway, this is initialize, turn, script, error. And then I want to pass the error type and also the error message. Alright, semicolon there is confusing everything. Okay, so I think that's all good. So yeah, if there's an error, then we'll throw something, but I don't really have to do anything else. Okay, so I think I'm done here. Oh right. I need to signal to the flow controller that the script is done, and the way I do that is just create this complete event. And so here I would just add that to the queue. And then back at the phase manager, I just subscribe to it here. So this will be on scripts complete. Oh, right. Okay, so then if the init state phase equals run scripts. Then I would advance to final. What are these two? This is a final. Oh, right. This is supposed to wait if we're disconnected, but we don't really have to do that anymore. We'll just switch to the final check. And okay, so I think now is a good time to stop and debug and make sure everything's working. Thinking about that, what do I have right now? Okay, so right now the onNewTurn function only prints out the turn number, which is good because yeah, noise or sounds and animations need to be updated, so if I tried to do this it would throw an error. Okay, so let's see. On inactive. Okay, so it's on run scripts right now. Oh, but that debug is wrong. Well, the naming was wrong. Yeah, this should not be turn phase. But it seems like it didn't actually run any scripts, or at least... Okay, now since I changed that, it's gonna recompile and then nothing will work. Oh, I know what's wrong. I didn't actually add the script runner object here. The script runner, and this can just be a normal. This runs after the flow control. Yes, that was... Yeah, I always... That's a problem I've been running into. Sorry for knocking that. But I think it's in general, having to initialize objects there makes it easier to organize later. So even though we might have to debug a couple times, it's okay. Okay, so now it said, yeah, next frame. Framework on load. Oh, what is this? Framework on load. Oh, okay. I think I called the wrong script because that's the loading script. Yeah, right here. That's easy to fix. This... Oh yeah, I called onLoad function, so this should be onNewTurn function. Okay, yeah, there we go. So onNewTurn number 1. Alright, so now we're on the ready check. Okay, so before I have this... Did I even delete it? Oh yeah, I had this ready check class that basically handled all the ready checks for all phases. There's some good to doing it this way, but I think in general... There's not that much code that really needs to be... Like, for just a simple ready check object, there's not that much code in it. If you can see, where is it? Okay, well if I can find... Oh yeah, ready check manager. So this is the entire ready check class. So basically, this just sends a ready check when map generation is complete to the server. And I have this message sender, which basically does all the work. And then again, I just add it to the disposable list, and then it checks to wait if we enter phases, and then if the ready check is received. So I don't really think I need to have separate ready check classes. Or have one giant ready check class for every ready check in the play phase. It does save a little bit of code, but there's not really any code in here that I'd have to come back and change. Because all it is like different enumerations, kind of. I don't know. I hate code duplication, but excuse me. You can see here that I have like every single initialization phase, and that's just a lot of objects that I'd have to keep track of in here, and I don't really know, and it doesn't allow really much nuance, so I think this is the better way. Okay, so I want the initialized turn state. Okay, and change that to initialized turn. Okay, so what this does... Oh yeah, I changed the name of the constructor. Okay, so this message queue is a little different than an event queue, because the message queue... The messages will stay in the queue forever until something retrieves them, whereas the events are cleared at the beginning of every frame. The reason I have it separate is because these messages include things you get from the server, and you don't want to miss any of those, so it's safer to use this. The other thing I need to do is wait for the initialized turn phase change. I really don't need the set active class or set active function here, so I think I'll get rid of that just to make it even simpler. So message sender dot active. Okay, and so we start sending messages if we're in phase, and then here when we receive something from the server, I check to make sure I'm also in phase and that it's the correct type. And I don't really have to do this because this on phase change would be called the next frame anyway, which would deactivate, but just to prevent sending unnecessary messages, I call active false right there, or set active to false. Okay, so this class is nice because it sends a message and it will resend the message every period as defined here. I think I have this set to 1 second. Yeah. Even though Unity guarantees that the server will always receive any messages that you send. I want to be sure to resend the messages in case for some reason the server ignores it because it's out of phase for whatever reason. So that's pretty much all of this class, and really this message helper does all the hard work, and also the message listener right there. Okay, so yeah, we just queue this complete event, so I'll need to go back to the phase manager and listen for that. Was it in the right? Okay, I did fix the namespace there. Okay, so this would be on ready check received. Okay, so I guess I can get rid of all these. Okay, so final check, and I guess I'll advance to inactive, and then I'll also need to queue an event. Say that signal that I'm finished, so that the main flow phase can start its work. Just do a simple complete event like that. And then I'd go back here. New initialize turn. Phase manager complete. Oh, yeah, I need to actually use the event exists listener. So on init complete. I guess I should put turn in case I have an initialized match phase later. I don't really... Well, I like if I had like some fancy camera work or something at the beginning. Okay, so again, if state dot turn phase is initialize, then I'd advance turn phase to choice. And that's when we would start allowing input where you can pick what actions you want to do. Yeah, so that will actually be a pretty big one. It was one of the first things I coded in this project, so I'm pretty sure some things are going to need to be changed. It was a little confusing last time I checked it. But we'll see. We can get rid of that. And on enter intro. Okay. So yeah, I need to add this final ready check manager here, or initialize it, I mean, not add it. Alright, so right now if I play, I think that it will be stuck at that ready check because the server doesn't know how to handle that type. Okay, so let's pause it for a second. So yeah, client sent this ready check to the server and the server did receive it. And then yeah, it sends out this ready check received event, but nothing deals with it. Yeah, because we only have loading and the lobby managers. So what I need to do is go ahead and update some of the server classes. Okay, so do I have... Oh yeah, I do have a play flow manager, but... Yeah, I'm not sure how much of this I'm actually going to use. Because I actually did change a lot of the server code. Yeah, we'll need the events, of course. Okay, and let's clean this up. And I'll just look at the loading manager because probably it will be a lot similar. I think I can delete this. Okay, so basically what this does is it listens for the main phase change. Yeah, so then it would know that when we enter in the load phase, then we need to set some values. Okay, and then here's when we receive a ready check. And yeah, if it's okay, yeah, if it's a loading error ready check. Oh, that's another thing I changed. That whenever there's an error, everybody waits for everyone to acknowledge that before exiting to the lobby, for example. So yeah, I have the new loading error, but if it ever receives one, that means that somebody's had a problem, so we need to change the phase to the error and then send them all, or send it to all clients. Then here, it's when a ready check is complete, this event is fired. Okay. Oh yeah, and then I have to update because this generate map is a little more complicated because not only do we have to wait for the ready check to be received, but we also have to receive the battle generation info from every player, so that's what it's checking for here. Okay, did I not take care of timeout? I thought I did. Oh, I do, but if it's timeout, it just simply disconnects the client. It doesn't do anything else. Okay. I can get rid of this too. So I think I'm going to use the same system basically for the play flow. Do I need to keep any of this? I guess I better. Okay, so I need to see how something worked, but I don't think I'll need any of this. Okay, so the server is different because it has every phase in one state. And that works because the server is kind of in all states at once, or it accepts things from all states. Okay, and then this is information about the ready checks, basically which ones are complete. This is just a helper class that I can send messages to all clients if I wanted to. And then this loading messages, okay, that's something I won't need here. Yeah, so it just has messages, so I'll need to have like a play messages, but I'll wait to implement that because we don't need it just yet. What's it complaining about? Oh, mad because this is public, I think. Okay, so play phase, and I guess I should see what these are. We have initialize, voice actions, calculation. Oh, okay, I see what goes on here. Yeah, it calculates and then checks. And then, okay, so this should be... Oh, we don't do actions. It's selections. Yeah, I remember when I first did this, I didn't name it very well. And then we transform these selections to actions here. And then we execute. And these are like end of turn effects, which happen after everybody's turn. And they're basically just like mod or actions that are given by the mods. What I always say is like, excuse me, a poison effect or something like that. And then these statuses check to see if a monster has died, basically. So yeah, that's it. That's looking good now. Okay, so I I don't have a play phase change yet. Where did I add this class? Oh yeah, in the server I just have one big events file. I guess is another fine way to organize it. Okay. So play phase. Okay, so that's taken care of. Okay, so I don't need to clear this yet because, again, we don't deal with messages yet, really. Okay, I'm going to delete that so I don't accidentally edit it. Or not delete it, but remove that window. Okay, so the first one is initialized turn. Okay, oh yeah, so this is like for a play error. Okay, we're not handling that yet, so I think I'll just comment it out. Okay, so the first one we have is initialized turn. Oops. Oh, am I off? Twitch says I'm offline, I don't know. But OBS says everything's still green. Okay, well I guess I'll wait a second. Okay, now I'm back. Okay, I don't know what was going on there. Sorry if my stream just cut out. Okay, so anyway, when we receive this, okay, yeah, so if every ready check of initialized turn has been received, then this is added to this ready list. So we know that if this is in there, then I can go ahead and move to the next phase, which would be choice selections. Calculate. And then I'd also want to send to all clients that this ready check has been received, which that's what this does right there. Send that ready check to all clients. And again, I don't really need this just yet because I'm not handling extra messages, but I guess I'll go ahead and just change those as if I was. Okay, so I think this is good. Let's go ahead and test it. There's one other thing I need to change or add to the server, but actually I just realized, yeah, I don't initialize this class yet. Okay, so yeah, it's the same type of thing as before. So play flow manager, and this is, oh no, it's a sub-phase control. Okay, so now, yeah, the turn phase changed from initialized to choice. Because, well, let's look back up a bit. Okay, so client sent this on frame 78. Okay, and yeah, then down here, server responded that it received the ready check. And so when the client got that message on frame 81, then it added this complete event, and then the phase manager saw that event on frame 82 and signaled that it was done. Okay, so that's all good. One other thing I need to do is I have these things called auto ready checks. That's kind of what I was talking about before, that if for some reason the client gets behind the server and we know that everybody's ready because the server has progressed past a certain phase, if I receive a ready check, I just go ahead and respond immediately. So that's kind of what this class does. I'm going to make a separate one for play. Okay, so this is play auto ready checks. And the main purpose of this is just so that the client doesn't have to try to keep track of what state the server is in. That was just way too complicated when I was trying to do it before. And okay, it does save on a few messages, but the ready check messages are so small, I don't think it will be breaking anyone's bandwidth. Okay. Yeah. I can get rid of all these. One problem I was having that had to do with the order that everything ticked is that the server would sometimes send 2 ready checks back, because the flow manager would send a ready check message to everyone, and then this function would also trigger. The way I made that fix is that the auto ready check runs before the flow manager now. It seems to work okay. Anyway, so I need to change this. Yeah, so when we receive this play initialize turn ready check, then we want to see if I need to respond immediately. Okay, so yeah, if we're in team build, yeah, these are like afterwards. Okay, so if we're in play, then we'll respond immediately if state.play phase does not equal initialize turn. Then would respond true. Yeah, this one's pretty simple. And then yeah, for any other phase would respond false for now. I think that actually if I was in like a results phase, then I'd respond true, but results isn't even implemented, so I'm not gonna worry about that just yet. Okay, and now I need to add this here. So play auto ready checks. I can get rid of all these comments, that's not helping anybody. Okay, so everything should still work the same, actually. But I guess I want to make sure that doesn't send 2 messages back. Yeah, it's a server. Okay, and that happened on the play flow manager just like I wanted. So yeah, the auto ready check did not send a message back. Okay, that's all good. So I guess now I need to work on play the choice phase. Let's see. I have selection. I'm just gonna take a quick look at these. Okay, so this is like an indicator. That's for the script. Okay, so the AI manager runs AIs. Okay, so I think this is the main class. I have this subphase. Like, I know that I think this is like implemented a little differently. Yeah, so this is like, okay, so this has like a sub phase because it has like a selection and then you choose a monster ability and then a target. The choice sub phase. Okay, I don't need the start weight. That's again if you're inactive, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I guess this would be make choice. Oops, why did I spell that with an S? Okay, submit choices. Okay, and then we request. Oh, I see. So this is requesting the choices back because we want to see if the server is trying to cheat us or some other player is trying to cheat. Yeah, so I'll just say request all choices. And then I just need the final check at the end. Okay, and probably I'll want, like, in the actual game, it'll come up with a banner that would say, okay, start selection, but that can just be part. I don't know, maybe I should add it right here. Oh yeah, this shouldn't be, okay. I'm just thinking, like, hypothetically, if you're playing a game with all AIs, you wouldn't really want that phase, so maybe it should just be part of the make choice phase for the player. Okay, yeah, we'll see about that. Anyway, so where is... Okay, this is what I was looking for, the phase manager. And there's nothing really interesting here. So this has, okay, we don't really need the connection manager anymore because again, I don't care if we're disconnected, I just won't send any messages right away. So we need the turn phase and then my own choice phase, so what I should do. I think I'll just steal these classes and repurpose them. I don't know if you can see my doggy, but he's moving around now. Getting a bit bored being stuck in here. I don't blame her. Ugh. I'm almost done. Okay, so yeah, just change some of the names there. Okay, so event queue. Okay, we'll need the events and then the choice state. Guess do I want to change like this whole thing instead of being called the choice phase? Just be the get or the selections phase or something, because the choice phase is a little confusing because that's like it implies that a player is making a selection, which might not necessarily be true if you're playing with only AIs. Let me see. Okay, I did just call it choice here. So let's say... Okay, I know what. I should just call this player selections and then player action generation. Because all these have to do with the player actions. Okay. Looks better to me. No, just names, but... Okay, so I'll rename this. This will be a player selection subphase. I'll just shorten that. Don't really need the sub in there either, but... Alright. And then here I'll rename this as well to player selection phase manager. And I'll need to also rename the file because I think what happens, normally Visual Studio will rename the file so it matches this class, but I think since I changed the namespace, it gets confused. So it's kind of a shame, but not a huge deal. Okay, so I don't really know what some of these variables were used for, but like I said, the flow for this phase was a little messy anyway, so I want to change most of it. Here's the player selection state, and then I guess I'll need the actual play state as well. Oops. Okay, I don't know what other classes I might need here, but easy to add them, so. Cloudy all of a sudden. Alright, so... Oh, yeah, let's complain because this is public again. Oh, no? Player selection state is less accessible. I don't think so. Oh, I just had to think about it, I guess. Okay, so we'll add a new event exists listener for the play state change. What's it called? I thought I typed that. Play phase change events, and then on play phase change. I guess. Wait, why does it think I want to use the server's version? I want to use this version. I guess it just needs to compile or something. But anyway, so if play state turn phase is player selections, then I want to advance my state, which I need some class like this. Oh, I'm grabbing it from the server, but it's really not different, so. Okay, so this is selection phase. To change the names of some of these variables. And this is player selection phase change. Okay, so that takes care of that. Oh, did I not have... Okay, what is going on here? Because it definitely has a from and to state, but for some reason it's saying that there's no... Oh, okay. I have it named differently here. From state. That's fine, I guess. But I still don't know why this isn't showing up. I'm gonna exit to Unity and let this recompile. Maybe that will kick some sense into it. Not exist. Well, it definitely does exist. I guess it must be named something different. Okay, because I grabbed it from the server by accident. What is it called here? Okay, it's this turn phase. That makes sense, actually. Okay, so anyway, here we advance to make choices. Oh yeah, and I should make this plural, because that's one thing I'm going to change here, because before the game assumed that there was always one choice per player, but in reality I think you're going to have multiple choices per player, because say for example you wanted every monster on the board to have some selection, so you definitely want to allow for that, I think. Okay, so anyway, get rid of the server stuff for now. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, I'll need to add the new state. Selection dot state, and then the new flow manager, obviously. Okay, and this is flow control sub. Okay, so let's see if this works so far. Dashboard seems to have frozen, but OBS still says I'm up, so confused sometimes. Okay, so player selection phase is in make choices now. So at this point, okay, What I need to do, like right now, I just assume that it goes right into letting you choose a selection, but I think I need to have a little bit more control over it. Basically, there should be some class that decides which player has control over input, if any, and then it also needs to run the AI scripts. And then it's going to need to know for sure when everything is done. Okay, so I guess I could just add that stuff here, because it's going to need to have all that information. Okay, so let's see the controlling layer, and yeah, I think that's good. And then we'll want to have the selection phase. I think I'll just merge that into the other file. Oh, thanks, Wonderful. Thanks for hosting me. I really appreciate it. Cool, yeah, thanks for stopping by. How are you doing today? Here we're just working on upgrading some old code to allow for a little bit smoother map selections. And probably roll in some new camera code, because I know the old camera was really wonky. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I had copied that phase enumeration because I wanted to paste it here. So I should probably rename this because now that's really confusing. So let's see. Controlling voice phase. I think that's good. Alright, decided to try something with Erlang. You need to find some better getting started docs. Oh yeah. I've worked, well, I don't know if I'd say I've worked in Erlang, but I have read a bit about it. Pretty interesting. But yeah, it's a bit hard to get started with, I agree. Okay, so yeah, so I just need some class that will decide these two values. I guess, what would the chosen selections? So whenever somebody makes a selection, it needs to be dumped somewhere, but I guess I don't have to worry about that just yet. Okay, so I had the actions collector, which I think used to kind of work like what I'm needing, but it's a bit less powerful. It just assumes again that it waits for every player to make a selection and then sends a message, which I don't really want to work like that anymore. So I might just mark this as obsolete and not use it. That might be the easiest thing to do. And I'll come back and delete all these obsolete files later. Okay, so let's see. So I want an actual voice manager here. Maybe I'll call it choice control manager. So it will control what player has control of the, I guess, camera and input. I don't know if we'll ever have like a hot seat mode in this game where two or more players can control or can play on the same computer, but if we did, this would allow us to. But like for testing, I want to be able to select actions for more than one player, so I guess we will have a hot seat mode for that. But then it should also signal the AI scripts to run. Maybe it doesn't need to do that, because probably the AI controller would just start running in the background immediately. Okay, let me see. So I want this to again be a flow logic container, so it can use events. I'll just go ahead and generate a constructor. And I'll need the player selection state. I don't really need the play state, so I can just call it that, I think. Oops, forgot the this keyword. And then I'll want to listen for when we enter in the choice or the make selection state. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Pickables, add new event exists listener. So player selection phase change. Okay, so if we're entering into the make choices phase, then I'll need to set up. And then again, we'll need to listen for some event from some other object that tells us that a choice has been made so we can move to the next one, or the next player. Okay, so let's have, so let's say give control. Okay, no, let's say like advanced control, because then it will just pick a new player. And then if there's not any more, then it would signal that it's done. I guess I can go ahead and create a complete event here. Oops. Okay, so here we know we're just entering into this make choices phase, so I think I'll go ahead and set controlling player to -1. Also, I'm gonna need another event for whenever the controlling choice phase changes. Why do I keep spelling it with an S? I know it looks wrong the minute I type it. Okay, there, that's good to go. And then I should also grab this advanced phase. Yeah, there we go. I was looking for the type. And this should be choice phase. Oops, that's the enumeration. I need the event. There we go. Okay, so again, I might need to get rid of this, but I'll wait and see if it causes any errors, because I might want to like refire the same phase if the controlling player changes. I guess I could just also pass that. Controlling player. Okay, for better debugging, I probably should also have like from player to player. Well, why not? Let's be good. I'm gonna do this. Oh, not 3. Okay, so from player, from state, to player, to state. Okay. That way we'll have a little bit better debugging. I always put semicolons there. Okay, so now here, again, I set this to -1 because I think what we'll do is I would search through every player greater than what's already gone and check to see if any of them are not AI. And if it's not an AI, well, it also has to be a local player. So if it's a local player and it's not AI, then I would give it control. So in order to do that, I need to have the game database, or actually the battle, because it gives me the current state. Okay, so for int I equals state, controlling player +1, I less than battle players count. Oh, I also should check to see if we're on the last player. So if state dot let's do it this way. Bool player found is false. Okay, so if battle players I player type is local, then I would set player found to true. I guess this should be an integer. And then I just store the I here and break. So if player found is greater than or equal to 0, then we'd advance phase to choose monster. Yeah. Okay, and then if there's not a player found, then we want to queue. Okay, well then we'd also advance phase, but to 0, -1. And we'd queue complete event. Alright, so now I need to add this control manager to the play controller. Plays, selection. And this will be a sub 2 because it's a subcontroller of a subcontroller. Okay, and then I also need to have the state variable up here. Or wait, no, it's the same thing. Okay. Okay, I was gonna say I don't know why there was an error in that class because I hadn't edited it. Okay, so let's see where it got to. Oh yeah, so it changed it to player number 0 at choose monster. So everything's working as expected so far. So, I guess before I go any farther, I should figure out what happens when somebody tells me their choice is complete. Well, what I'm gonna have to do is... Okay. I can't actually listen to the event yet because it's not created. But what I can do is create the function. So private void on monster chosen. And we don't really care exactly what monster was chosen. So if state dot voice phase is choose monster, then we would advance to choose ability. Okay, and we can't exit out of this, but yeah, when we're in choose ability, we can actually exit back to choose monster, so I'm going to need to have two functions for that. So on ability chosen, we would switch to choose target. I think I renamed these to options, so I'll do that. And then we could say on ability cancelled. So here we just move back to choose monster, and that shouldn't be an issue. And then on option chosen, this is the interesting one. Then I would just call advanced control. Okay, and then last one on option cancelled, we move back to choose ability. Okay, that's right. Okay, so that's not too complicated. So yeah, now I just need to create the controllers for each of these. But maybe we should do the camera first. I don't know, I only have about 10 more minutes, so I'm trying to think of something we could reasonably finish in time. Yeah, then the AI is going to work completely separate from this, so... but I guess, yeah, before I... That's one other thing, because right now the advanced control just queues complete. But... And also, if we're playing... hot seat with more than one player, should I be able to cancel back to a previous player? I would say no, once you've chosen, that's it. So yeah, we don't have to deal with that. But, okay, I can't call this complete because what if the AI is not done? So, I need to figure out exactly how that's going to work. Okay, so I could add a bunch more here, which I guess would make sense. Something like int selecting... Oh, I could put like the current monster and everything, but... Okay, let's see. I have this AI manager, but I'm not actually going to do anything with it yet, I don't think. But I should just have like an AI state or something so I know which AIs still need to run. Okay, so let's see. About the running state. So I'll just have a list of like requests to run. Player requests, I guess. And then I'll just have a boolean. Well, I guess if this list is empty, that would mean that they're all done. I think. Well, I guess I'll just go with that assumption for now. We might change it. Doesn't really make much difference. Okay, so here I'll need to grab that AI running state. Okay, so how do I want to say that I've cycled through all players? I guess I could just, if controlling player is -1, which means there's no controlling player, and the AI is done, then I would queue this event. So how actually... Well, I could just... Well, there'll probably be an event that will let me know when AI is finished. So I'll just do it like this. So if AI count is 0, which means that all the AI is done, we'll fire that. And then at some point, when I actually implement AI, we'll also need to do the same type of thing, where we actually check to see that there's no controlling player. But yeah, anyway. So I need to add this running AI state to the context, so objects can actually get a reference to it. Alright, so the next thing I need to do, I do have select, okay, let's select a target, that's fine, select monster. I guess this is the next thing I need to update. I'm also going to need to do the camera. Yeah, we'll see about that. Not sure if I want to put the camera controls into... Because probably when you're not selecting something, the camera should kind of be locked and it'd be controlled by the game itself, so... Okay, so this... None of this is interesting. Okay, so I got battle, and then I have a message that tells me when monster's chosen. Okay, this scope... Okay, so this had monster. I guess I can still use it, but I'm gonna clean some of this stuff up. This really needs to be private. Yeah, I want to change this to option, and then I guess all options. I'll get rid of all this stuff. Okay, and I have it serializable, I think, so I can show in my Unity's debug panel. Yeah, I'll need to update that. Let's add this to the subcontroller. Do we like the name? Current selection. Let's change it to like choices. I think that would be better. Oh, I did it with an S again. I don't know why I keep doing that. Now that I think about it, I don't really need the current either. Oh, I guess that's fine, because kind of like what's going on right now. Okay, so also, this is way more complicated than it needs to be. This is like for mouse picking, but I'll update that later. So yeah, select monster manager. I will need this, but I don't actually want it to be an event. I guess it is time to update it now, isn't it? But anyway, so I have this selections. Or let's call it choices. And the select phase is actually just state now. Player selection state. Okay, and so for this I need, oh, well actually since I already have all these up here, I can just generate a constructor. Fortunately, it does not automatically call the base constructor, which I always thought was a little strange. But I can just add the events to it. Still saves me quite a bit of typing. And I think it's complaining because that's public again. Okay, so this is actually pretty simple. First it checks to see if we enter the phase, and if it does, then it basically resets these choices. Then it checks to see if the select button is pressed, and if it is, it looks to see what's under the mouse. Then this would send a complete event. Alright, but I think probably a good point to stop for now. So yeah, I just need to like refactor some of this code. Okay, we actually got quite a bit done today. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, I don't know how exciting this updating this code is, but I think I'd probably only be on it for a week or two, and then we can get back to the terrain, which I definitely needed a break from, so. But yeah, I'm glad to be back streaming, and we actually had a pretty good turnout today, so yeah, thanks everybody for coming by, I really do appreciate it. And thanks again for the host, Wonderful. That was really nice of you. But yeah, I guess that's it for me for today. Pretty soon I'm gonna set up a schedule for streaming during the afternoon, so keep a eye out for that. But for now, still getting back into it. But also, I do have a Twitter, which I always post to whenever I go live. So you don't want to, well, you can either follow me here for notifications or on my Twitter as well. And then also I have a YouTube channel where I upload any past streams if you want to look and see how far the game has come. And also a Discord server if you'd like to chat with me throughout the day. We'd love to have you there. Right now we have a really small community, so it'd be great to get some more people. But I guess that's about it. I guess everybody have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.